Okay, it's video time again. This is Casey Browning from Retroactive Arcade, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about a very unique product that we carry, which is a JAMMA switcher. Might not be unique in the whole scheme of things, but I get a lot of questions about how they work, why, and what you can use them for, that kind of a thing. Now, it is a universal setup for JAMMA, with, like I've shown in a couple other of my videos, what is JAMMA and how does it work. All the harnesses, all the things that are available in those videos and the products that we carry, they are just a universal setup for JAMMA. There is some things that there's different connections and stuff have to go to, you know, obviously different buttons, different voltages, that type of thing for old school cabinets. Different genres of cabinets and different eras of cabinets have different types of setup, but the pin setup on the fingerboards is pretty much generic, right? So since we've established that, now we're looking at a switcher. So this switcher is kind of cool because you can put up to two different JAMMA boards on this thing, and you can have them both in your cabinet. So, you know, you're not too happy with what's out there for a game list, whether it be a Pandora's Box 4, a family game 3149 or whatever. You still want to have like a quick list, or you want to have a cool board that has all of your games on it that you can't find anywhere else. This is a way to be able to have both of them. Or you can even have a dedicated PCB to this, as long as it works with the era of what I'm telling about, because this specific thing, switcher, and the way the JAMMA is set up is when your controls and power and all your inputs into this switcher are universal to both of these. So you can't just put you know, a Mortal Kombat board here and then a Pandora's Box 4 and the other one. It just doesn't work that way. As long as they use the same finger pin out for each JAMMA, then you'll be okay. So that's going to be up to you to figure out that type of a thing. For now, I'm going to use some generic multi-game JAMMA boards. I'm going to use a 60-in-1, and we're also going to use a Pandora's Box 4 just for the demo here. Now these ones here, I know they're compatible, and they kind of they do work the same here. Now with this one here, actually this one's a 19-in-1. This one's actually well, yeah, they're both horizontal, so they'll both work. If it was a 60-in-1 on here, it'd be vertical, and the other one's horizontal, so you'd get like this weird thing happening on your monitor unless you had an adjustable monitor, which most people don't have, that kind of a thing. So I'm going to go through how this thing works first, then I'm going to start hooking things up, and we're going to kind of see, once we pile all this on, to see how it actually works and how it all connects. So, as you can see here, we've got our IR kind of remote thingy where you plug this in and you put that somewhere where your remote itself can go from there, connect to it. So all this stuff can be internal. All you need is this little remote on the external. Put your little antenna up there, you press your little button, and it'll switch from one to the other when it's all powered up. Now this is powered up in two different stages. So you've got this here that powers your 5-volt to this, as well as your IR remote via this telephone jack here. So you're good that way. But you need a 5-volt in on the bottom of the board here to power that IR remote. The JAMMA board itself, when you power it all up for your JAMMA harness and everything, that doesn't send your power to here. Okay, so for this board, this is your VGA in. You can also use CGA in if you'd like as well. If your harness, it goes and it has, all the harnesses have a CGA video out from them that you can use, that'll go native to kind of your CGA out if you're using CGA. If you want to use VGA, you don't want to convert from CGA then out to VGA, you might as well just go straight native VGA to VGA, out the VGA, and you're good to go. So both cards that you put in have to supply video. Now you can mix it up. You can go VGA then to CGA, and then you can just do CGA out if you have a CGA monitor, or a VGA out if you have a VGA monitor. You can go and kind of combine the two, but when you're converting those signals, things get lost and things kind of don't work the way you want to. Then you might end up having to use a converter of some sort or something in line at that point to try to fix the resolution or change some stuff up. as this is universal or a universal type setup, it's not always perfect. I haven't had a problem with it though when you're using the kind of pre-configured JAMMA boards that are out there. For lack of a better term, they're all from China, so you can't say too much about that. But if you use those type of boards, they'll work there. If you use American style PCBs, single boards and stuff, they will work. Now, you're gonna have your JAMMA connector and your pinout coming from this side, and that's going to be bringing your power in on your 12, 5, and ground. That's going to power both boards, but it's only going to power one at a time with your switch. So you can obviously get the gist of that. It's pretty simplistic. With that being said, sometimes when you have your big PCBs, and these ones as well, they don't all just fit on this board. So I'm going to start plugging in a couple of connections here to kind of show you how it's going to set up, and you can kind of see how easy it'll be. We're going to start off with a pre-wired, pre-configured power supply. I'm going to show our little EMI filter where we're going to plug in, provide power to our arcade power supply. This would be for our LCD monitor if I want to run VGA to an LCD, which I usually do. Converting and keeping CRTs, as nostalgic as it is, it's not always the most practical way of doing something, because some of them just they're too far gone, or some of them aren't compatible with some of the newer boards, and then you've got to get a converter, and then sometimes that converter doesn't want to convert properly. You can go through the hell and back if you'd like. I just prefer not to. So your power's connected here, so you got your 12 ground and 5 volt. Obviously that's going to be on your harness here. Now keep in mind, as I always say in all the videos that I do for JAMMA, the JAMMA harnesses that are universal are not keyed. You can see that the fingerboard here is keyed. The reason for that is just to kind of confirm or let you know that your power side is here. If you take your power side and flip it over, there's a huge chance that you can do a cross current and fry your board, or a chipset on the board, or something like that, and then all of a sudden, hey, it's not working for you. That would be why. I've yet to fry a board doing that way by mistake, but I mean, we have to warn everybody because it can happen. Okay, so this would go out to your general button setup. So you'd have your player 1, player 2, your speakers, your coin in, and all that kind of good stuff. It's being powered by your arcade power supply, which is being powered from the wall from your 110 or wherever you live. And it's coming in here to power one of these at a time. Okay, so basically it's going to set up the exact same way. So you've got your key on these boards as well, right? So you got that. So you have to follow suit and do the same with this. These are really tight fit, which is excellent because you don't want these suckers to move when you're in there. So it just sits just like that. Now I can fit this board on there as well, just like so, and that's the joy of these little boards. You can do it with a 619, like the Game Elf. You can't do it with some of the Pandora's boxes that have the angular boxes. You'd have to take the board out of the box, which is no big deal. It's just a shell, and then it pops out, and it's actually just like this board here. So they look the same. Just label it or whatever so that you know which one is which. So what I would do is I take a JAMMA harness extender. So we can take the extender. Say you have a PCB mounted somewhere in the cabinet. This is almost, it's about 2.5 feet long. It's not quite a meter, but you can get your extension from the side of your cabinet to where we're going over here. Just make sure that this one is not keyed as well for these fingers, but just make sure that you plug it into the right spot. It's going to be a tight fit. Didn't make that one too easy, but that's all good. So that's what one configuration can look like. I showed you where this actually can plug into the board itself. Now you just have to make sure that you have VGA in and VGA in. With these boards, they have the VGA out, which makes them nice and easy to use. So you can do your VGA in. Nice and convenient. See it that way. This one as well. Alright, so obviously I'm going to do that, and then you have your VGA out up here. There's also, like I said before, you have your 5-pin for your CGA and your CGA. This one here, this generic harness, Chinese harness, has that exact pin out for that CGA that I've been talking about. So you could use that instead if you didn't want or didn't have the CGA on here, because this one actually has the CGA pin out on it for the 60-in-1. So you would just use one of these from there to there, and on this one from the harness itself to this. You have to splice into it and stuff. I highly suggest using the VGA on it anyway. So it might look a little complicated, might sound a little complicated, but when you see it all together and how fast I put it all together, if I was to plug this in as is right now, without the sound being plugged in, we could play. We just wouldn't get sound right now. So yeah, as it sits, that's it in a nutshell. Check out the JAMMA switcher. You can research it a little bit more online. If you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to drop some questions down below, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.